Hello and welcome again to another PDM framework video. My name is Amen and I am going to continue talking about the logging functionality today with PDM framework. In a previous video we looked at how we can create a file logger and log some of the events of this onCommand method. And throughout that process we defined a logger folder and then created a log file name, and then we set the output, initialize our logger, and then put in a few login statements here and there, and finally we logged that file into our vault. Now today I'd like to show you guys how to do that, but pretty much for SQL, or we're going to try to do this for Microsoft SQL Server. Okay. So let's get started. So the first thing that we want to do is pretty much change the type of the logger to SQL logger. And you guys will see that this process is pretty simple. We won't be making a lot of changes here. So the first change is the logger type chosen. We switch that from file to SQL, and then going up here, we probably will not need the log folder path anymore, and we won't need the log folder as well. We won't need the output path or the output location, but we still need the initialize method. All right. So I guess the first thing when we're talking about SQL is that we're going to be logged into a database, and then in a database we're going to be logged into a table. And for us to be able to establish a connection, we'll probably need a connection string. So let me go back here to my SQL server, and as you can see, I have a database called Blue by System Logs DB, and in there I have this test table. Let me go and check its design. So when you're using PDM framework to log stuff to SQL, there's a few standardized tables that you need to be able to follow. So as if this version 53, your tables will need to have these columns here: the add-in, task name, message, add-in version, company name, timestamp, and the task instance GUID. If you don't have these in your table, then the logger would fail. And it's preferable that we set the data types of these columns to be the maximum number of characters possible, allowing null, and we have to change the timestamp here to a datetime type. So feel free to pause the video and go and create a table that has these columns here. And when you're done, we can go back here to our code. And then we can begin by defining a connection string. So I can do here is var connection string equals to, and this is where we'll put our connection string. So let me just go and copy that, and I'm going to paste it and minimize it. Alrighty. After we do that, we can go immediately and change the connection string value here in the initialize method to be a connection string. So we have logger init, identity, instance, and then connection string. We will not be needing a log file name anymore, so I'm going to change this to table, which will be used in a bit. And the table here in our case will be test table. All right. The only difference here we have obviously is the connection string and then the table. Once we have initialized our logger, we pretty much need to go and start the connection. And at the end of our onCommand method, we won't need this stuff anymore. We'll just have to do logger and end connection. Perfect. So this will close our connection with the SQL Server. And everything else pretty much remains the same, really. we are going to be logging to this test table, and the data that we're going to be logging is already put here, so we'll pretty much see the same thing that we seen in the file log, pretty much printed in a SQL table. So I think what's left to do here is really to try this. So let's see here. Let's go and build this. I can see that my build has actually failed, so let me try to do that again. My build has succeeded, and let's go and start our logger, or start the add-in. So let me go to my CLI here, and I can see that PDM is opened, and I can see that the folder has opened. Let me right click on the control panel and then go and generate a QR code image. Awesome, success. If I switch over to MySQL and then right click on this guy and select the top 1,000 rows, you can see that we have logged 2 steps here. You can see the name of the add-in, task name, message, the add-in version, company name. In our case, it's not a task add-in, so these values will be the task GUID, the task instance GUID, sorry, will be not available, and the same thing is for the task name. But you know, this is how you do SQL logging with PDM Framework. I hope this video was short and informative. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below, or over on Cat Overflow or LinkedIn. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.